and good afternoon to everyone who's watching online, because obviously there's hundreds of people watching this feed, I'm sure. I'll just do a few introductions so we all know who we are, and then we'll go through with the meeting. But before I do my introductions, there's just a few announcements. I did mention that we're online, so if you do have a mobile phone, it might be quite nice if it's set on silent. I always look at my councillor colleagues because we're the worst offenders. Thank you for agreeing. I do appreciate that. We're not expecting a fire alarm today, so if you do hear the bells, I would ask you to please leave, following the green signs that are marked clearly on the far left, fire exit on the far right, marking fire exit downstairs, and we assemble, as I always say, quite happily for licensing outside the Slug and Lettuce. We have a subcommittee in front of us of elected officials. This is not a public meeting, but it is a meeting held in public, and as such we have a clear agenda, and I'd ask us all to stick to that agenda and the way that flows. It just makes a lot more sense. The councillors making decisions today are on my far right, Councillor Lynn Allen and Councillor Teddy Barnes, and I'm Councillor Dominic Gillam, the chairman of the meeting. To assist me today, I have a legal advisor. I also have Democratic Services who make sure that the items... Mr Pancho, you're nodding because you've been through this process before. We have Stephen Dormer from licensing, and I'm conscious that we not only have the licence holder's represented, but we also have the applicant here today. So what I'll ask you to do is just press the button and introduce yourself. So I'll ask the applicant to do that first. Kieran, that's you.
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, did you want me to... Oh, hi, I'm Kieran San, I work for Trading Standards.
Hi, Mrs. Soni from Strawberry Local.
I'm Mr. Panchal, Soni's agent at this hearing.
Okay. Jolly good, thank you very much indeed. Just to all confirm, there was an addendum created. I hope you all have copies. And from that addendum, I know that I raised it myself, that the important thing is that I did mention earlier we follow a clear agenda and process, and that process that was printed in the original pack has been adjusted. And that's why I stress, Kieran, you are actually the applicant and not the licence holder, because this is a review after all. So, before we go any further, I think we can go on to the agenda, and we'll take apologies of absence.
There are no apologies for absence.
Good, always glad to hear. Declarations of interest coming before this meeting? No interest? Okay, noted, no interest. Can I confirm that items in this agenda are all in part 1 and there will be none in part 2? Is that correct? As such, we'll be broadcasting live the whole time. There will be no need to switch off the cameras and hold it in camera. And I can confirm also that there's been no matters notified urgent or advance, or in advance or urgent.
That's correct.
Excellent. So we'll move on then to agenda item 5, which is an application for a review of a premises licence, Strawberry Local, Gloucester Parade, Hayes. Now, Stephen, we've all read the report, so if you can just highlight the main bullet points of that and we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. You've all been presented with the report and the addendum items. I would like to take the opportunity to provide a verbal summary of the application. The offence. The Council's Trading Standards have conducted a joint operation with the Met Police at various premises in the borough. Officers seized illicit tobacco products from Strawberry Local, and Trading Standards, being a responsible authority, applied to review the Licensing Act 2003 premises licence. A visit was conducted by myself on Monday the 3rd of July of this year. The licence conditions appear to be complied with. No follow-up visits were made after December 2016 and in July until July. This makes it difficult to establish a pattern of behaviour of the DPS and the occupiers of the premises. Mr. Sonny has been cooperative when visiting the site and has not been obstructive to myself. Further regulation by imposing modifying conditions of the premises licence may help in further protecting the public. Further compliance visits from authorised officers will establish if Mr. Sonny is complying with his new conditions. However, Mr. Sonny needs to obviously be aware that there is the seriousness of his offence and that he's put the public at risk as well as his licence. This is something that today's subcommittee may take into consideration when determining the outcome of the review of the licence. This concludes my submission.
Stephen, thank you very much. Just a point of clarification at this point. You mentioned the word illicit. Now, obviously, we have two different types of offence, if you like, with the sale of cigarettes. It could be counterfeit cigarettes or non-duty paid. When you say the word illicit in this case, what type of cigarette sales are you referring to, or is it both?
In the page 14 and 15 of the report, it tells me that there was some non-duty paid cigarettes present when the officers visited, and there was counterfeit tobacco as well also present at the premises.
So both types of offence were taking place?
Looking at the application submitted by Training Standards, that would seem to be the case.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Members, any other points of clarification of the licensing team at this point? None? Whatever. Okay, now we move over to the applicant, and that's you, Kieran. So if you'll press the button and you're online.
Good afternoon. My name is Kieran. I'm here representing the Trading Standards Service. The application to review has been submitted by the service in support of the licensing objective, the prevention of crime and disorder. The application for review by Trading Standards is detailed as per Appendix A in the documentation pack. I intend to summarise the main points that are detailed in the application. So on the 7th of December 2016, following a receipt of complaints, an intelligence-led multi-agency operation was planned in the borough. The operation was led by Trading Standards, and the other agencies involved were the Met Police, specifically licensing officers, a brand representative from the tobacco industry, and a canine sniffer dog, plus the handler. The purpose of the visits was to conduct inspections at premises where intelligence suggested illicit sales, that's counterfeit and non-duty paid, of tobacco products were being made. The canine sniffer dogs were used to identify concealments of the tobacco. One of the premises visited on the day was the shop trading a Strawberry Local on Gloucester Parade, Bourne Avenue in Hayes. At the time of visit, Mr. Dildar Singh Soni was present. We understand him to be the director of Eckham Enterprises Limited, which trades as Strawberry Local, and he is also the DPS for the store. During the course of the inspection, tobacco concealments were found by officers in a printer copier behind the till, at the lower end of the tobacco gantry, and in the owner's vehicle. Tobacco was suspected to be contrary to the Trademarks Act 1994 was seized. The quantities of the amount that were seized on the day are detailed on page 14, and I'm just going to state them for everyone's benefit. So in total we seized 3,660 cigarettes. We seized 1,580 grams of hand-rolling tobacco, and we seized 14 sachets of chewing tobacco. During the course of the visit, PC Mitchell from the police also conducted a licence inspection. Following on from the visit and the seizures that were made, samples of the seized tobacco were sent for analysis to their respective brand holders. Confirmations were received as to whether they were counterfeit, whether they were non-duty paid, or whether they were genuine. Again, as detailed on page 14 to 15, it states in the second tables that state confirmation of tobacco status, it states the status of the tobacco as was confirmed by the brand representatives. So when the returns came and status was confirmed, it was determined that 60 Richmond cigarettes were genuine, 80 grams of the Cutter's Choice hand-rolling tobacco were confirmed genuine, and as a result, they were returned to Mr. Soni on the 19th of May 2017. At the time, he was also issued review paperwork. The other tobacco was either confirmed to be counterfeit and therefore not legal for sale in the country, or non-duty paid, not produced for sale within the UK. Okay. At the time of return of the products, Mr. Soni was informed that a licence review would be taking place, and that he was issued paperwork and recommendations were being made in relation to a suspension and conditions to be complied with. The suggestion was made that if he made the effort to comply with those conditions, it would reduce the suspension period time that the committee might suggest. So in closing, I invite the committee to consider the service recommendation that the licence be suspended for a period of time deemed suitable for the licence holder to comply with the conditions proposed by trading standards on page 12 and the additional conditions that have been stated by the on page 25. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kieran. Just to clarify a few points, what you've mentioned in your submission, you talk about contraband tobacco, both non-duty paid and counterfeit. Can you, obviously, as a licensing committee, we only look at one type of that. So we need to hear exactly how much of the non-duty paid tobacco are we discussing, because obviously the Section 182 guidance, if it was just counterfeit tobacco, it wouldn't be in front of us. That's not an offence, members. You'll see in your packs. That's not an offence that we need to consider. We only consider the smuggled goods. So sorry, just the non-duty paid. The non-duty paid is the stuff that's brought us here today. The counterfeit items is not something that would cause a review to be held.
The items that are identified as non-duty paid, again, if you look at page 14 and 15, in terms of the cigarettes, the Benson and Hedges 400 cigarettes were non-duty paid. The Marlboro Gold 3,200 cigarettes were non-duty paid, which gives you a total of 3,600 non-duty paid cigarettes. With regards to the hand-rolling tobacco, it was either found to be genuine or counterfeit, and therefore none of those are non-duty paid. In regards to the oral chewing tobacco, that was found to be all non-duty paid, and of which there's only 14 sachets.
Sorry, what was the weight? You said the hand-rolling tobacco again. Sorry, what was the issue with those? They were all just counterfeit.
They were counterfeit, and one lot was 80 grams.
So none of those are what we're considering today.
No.
And the oral tobacco?
14 sachets were all non-duty paid.
Okay. So it's safe to say that obviously they're sold sometimes in packs of 200s. 18 packs of 200 we seized. Looking at that, you said it's 3,600 cigarettes.
Yeah. And
so
that
a sleeve, if you like, 18 sleeves we took from this premises that actually had no duty paid on them.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This visit took place on December the 7th last year.
Yes.
We're now in July.
Mm-hmm.
Can you confirm that you've been back to the premises since and done a revisit?
The revisit was done in May.
And the results were?
We found no issues at the time of our visit. Conversation was had with Mr. Sony. He engaged in an appropriate, suitable manner. He was informed of the review taking place. And I stated already that he was advised that if he wanted to reduce the period of his suspension, which we were recommending, it would be beneficial to him to demonstrate that he's complying with the conditions. The items that were then found to be genuine were returned to him.
No, I was just having a little whisper in my ear then, asking about your recommendation for suspension. You quite wisely hasn't put a time frame on that. Any particular reason why you haven't given us that guidance?
Because I think it's a case of we have not, at the time of issuing the review documentation to Mr. Sony, he was advised then that if you want to reduce the time frame for suspension, that you should make an effort to comply with the conditions. At this moment in time, I don't know whether he's fully complying with them or not.
Why don't you know that?
Because that's not been followed up by me.
Okay, so it's not failing by the actual licensee. You haven't checked to see if he's carrying it out?
No.
Okay.
Not since that last visit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Members? We're okay?
I
do apologise, Councillor Allen, that's my prerogative. Okay, so we've heard from the applicant of the review. I note we don't have a submission from any of the other responsible authorities, but we do have the licence holder and Mr. Panchal as his representative. I guess you're both free to speak. I would ask you to keep it to some sort of brevity. We have read our packs, but Mr. Panchal, if you'd like to go first. Press the button, please. It'd be great.
Chairman, is it possible I can ask a few questions to the trading?
No. If you read the order of proceedings, you'll clearly see that you have submissions, and then after that, we have an area called discussion.
Oh, fine. Okay.
So that bit is when we ask questions. Now I'd like to hear a submission from you.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, my client holds. I'm going to briefly give you the description of how far he is. My client holds a personal license since 2014. He bought this shop, Strawberry Local, in 2014. Since 2014 till the December 2016, when this incident happened, there were no breaches of any conditions or breaches of any licensing matter at the shop. He does understand that he was offered, a lot of his clients came to him to say, well, we can buy cheaper cigarettes or whatever from the other shops, why don't you get it for us? And he got a bit carried away with it, and hence he didn't realize that it would be one of his breaches of the condition. And when he bought the tobacco, that's something that I need to stress, and what I've, from my knowledge from the client, that I've heard that the seized tobacco was in the van rather than in the shop. The van parked in front of the shop. The seized tobacco that we are looking at. There was a tobacco, rolled tobacco.
Sorry, Mr. Panchal, just to clarify, where the contraband was is not really for debate. The main thing is it was in his possession.
Oh yes, Chairman.
I don't understand why you're telling us it's in the van. We've read the report. We've seen where it is, but
Chairman, I'm not disputing anything. I'm just saying where the tobacco was. And
in the van owned by Mr. Sony.
Yes, Mr. Sony. We're not disputing anything of that sort, Chairman. We're not disputing anything that we are saying that it wasn't in his possession. But I'm just trying to clarify where it was and how it was dealt with and how the incident happened. So that's what my clarification is to the committee. I'm not saying that he has not breached it, or I'm not saying that he wasn't in possession of the tobacco. I'm not saying that, Chairman. So he was in possession. The van did belong to him. And that's why he apologizes for what has happened at that very moment. Immediately on getting those matters and where he stood and where he understood that he should not have been involved into that, and visit by the trading standards, and the matter happened. My client immediately took action and made sure that he complies with it. So since December, when the incident happened, till today, 2017, in June, he has not breached any of his licensing matters. He purchases his goods from AWRS registered cash and carries. He's made an effort to come and visit us as a training center, and made sure all his staff and his training manuals and everything are in place at the shop. He also is robustly now promoting the 4 licensing objectives with all the necessary posters required at the shop. So he is now started following everything that is required. He worked under the Challenge 25 scheme. So he has come back. This is last 7 months we're talking about, although as the responsible authorities say that they haven't made a visit, but we are in full connection or control with the client in matters of training and that. And there is a refusal book that, Chairman, we have sent the matters of the refusal book, which he is complying with, which we've sent few of the matters to the licensing officer of how the refusal book is complied with.
Mr. Panchal, are you trying to submit these as evidence? Because we haven't seen them before. I will not accept them now.
No,
these
we've
pieces?
sent the refusal book
No,
concept to
the piece of paper you were holding up in front of us earlier.
Oh, these are the compliances required
well,
normally.
it's all very well and good, sir, but
Yeah.
unfortunately they're not part of our application pack. They weren't submitted. The other side has not seen them, so I won't allow them to be used today as evidence. Okay?
Chairman, this is a normal compliance.
I know, so I don't understand why you're waving them about in the room, Mr. Panchow.
I'm not weighing, it's part of the show, is required at the shop. That's what I'm saying, that how robustly is promoting his 4 licensing objectives as far as the licensing objectives are concerned, Chairman. So, Chairman, my client is quite happy to endorse the new conditions that are proposed by the trading standards, and my client has no objection, and as you've seen, as I've said to you, that in the last 7 months and so, henceforth, my client hasn't breached any of the licensing objectives. So we are happy with the conditions to be endorsed on the license.
Okay, thank you. Sure. Mr. Soni, have you got anything to say? Do you want to press the red button first? Mr. Panchow, before we do that, we'll just clarify what you've said. It's not going to be the questions answered, just exactly on what you've said. You said he got carried away with it. Carried away with what, when you said that, Mr. Panchow? What did you mean by Mr. Soni got carried away with it?
Chairman, when I said carried away, means a lot of customers came to him to say that they could buy cigarettes around the corner or in the other shops, which were duty not paid or cheaper or that, and hence he felt that where are they getting it from and how are they getting it from, and he managed to dig a bit and not carried away, but he managed to get to it. So he bought it from one of his.
He managed to get to it. What do you mean?
He managed to ask one of his friends where he managed to purchase those. It was still in his van. And he realized that it was his mistake that he did. So we are not disputing the mistake he made at that particular instance.
And the other one, just quickly from me, and then I'll pass on to Councillor Edmonds, just to clarify, you'd also said he apologises. Mr. Panchow, I must say, I haven't received anything at all, a written statement from Mr. Soni. Members in the pack, you'll see that the licence holder has not responded. So you say he apologises, but is there any evidence of that apology at all? Because this offence happened in December. I understand he's gone to see you a couple of times since, but we've heard nothing. So where's the apology you talk about?
We are saying this today to you. We are not.
Just now he apologises. Oh, okay. Councillor Allen, do you want to clarify? We will have a committee question. Do you mind waiting? Is that all right? Thank you, Councillor. I just want to clarify what exactly he had said. That was all I wanted to get back to. Mr. Soni, is there anything you'd like to add at this point?
Not really, not that much, but still, I'm saying apologize for these things what I've done, and that's it.
Sorry, I missed that. You just said you're sorry. That's it. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, I feel we've moved very swiftly to the subcommittee discussion. We will, at that point, clarify from points and questions, I'm sure, from councillors. Just please indicate. Firstly, can I hear from you, Kieran? You mentioned when you found the contraband product in a photocopier. What did you mean by a photocopier? Photocopier, you said.
A printer copier. We're not entirely sure.
Explain whereabouts in a photocopier this was hidden then.
It's happened on visits previously, but we have situations where sometimes behind a shop till in a particular store, concealments of tobacco will be made within, say, if you've got a photocopy and you can lift off the lid and there's something in there, or you've got a drawer.
In the paper tray?
Yeah, or in the paper tray, you'd feed it in there so that it can be hidden. No one would potentially think to look there.
So they're hidden because they know they're illicit.
And they're accessible because they're under the shop till.
Okay. And you also said in the gantry?
So within any premise that sells tobacco, the legislation changed a couple of years back, and so tobacco is not put out on display for sale. It's always hidden behind what's known as a tobacco gantry. So the bottom of the gantry, there was effectively certain tobacco that we found that we suspected to be counterfeit and removed it.
Thank you. Just a couple of points. Mr. Panchow, you did try and offer up some signs that your client is compliant. I just draw your attention to the photographs. I can't see the signs in the store, Mr. Panchow, that you talk about. Looking at photos 7 and 8, which show the photo 2 which shows the counter with the 40% spirits and above behind it. And also, I believe, is it photo 8? Probably not photo 8 now, no, probably photo 1, sorry. Photos 1 and 2, I do apologise. Photos 1 and 2 clearly show the counter where the point of sale is. Can you indicate to me where the signs are that you talk about, Mr. Panchal? Do you have the photographs in front of you?
Actually, we got that photograph signs on the top of gantry. Should be there.
Now I can see an awful lot of clocks for sale, and I can see
I
can see a red flash sign talking about credit cards, which is covering something about sale, but no clear pictures. I can also see that someone's left their Oyster card in your store. But apart from that, I can't see the official signs.
No ID, no sale, and we got...
Sorry?
We got a photo just behind that. Not a photo. We got just a pass photo card, you say. It's just this one.
Yeah,
that's
I
a photo
can see
card.
That's what I'm trying to stress to you, Mr. Soni. I can see half a sign. Mr. Pancho had a whole pack of signs there.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Soni, just to clarify, you are a DPS, you do understand.
Yes, sir.
You are supposed to be displaying these signs. It's a legal requirement, correct?
Yes, sir. You're right, exactly.
So you are aware of this legal requirement, like you are aware of selling contraband, but you've chosen to do both of these things.
I'm really sorry, but we just can't put that sign on the top. Normally it's be on the side, should be that fall down, or one of my staff put it. That's the thing. But we got that photo sign and that no ID, no sale sign on that top.
Councillor Allen, I'm sure you have questions at this point.
I have.
Yeah.
You say you took the premises over in 2014.
Yes.
Can you tell me, or would you be willing to tell me when you started selling what you were selling?
Selling means that
buying off the back of a white van man or wherever you bought it.
The things, that's my first time, and it's not, we can't, I know that that's not right thing. I just told...
So, am I to be led to believe that it was a coincidence that you got caught on the first time?
You can say.
Thank you.
Mr. Soni, on that, we heard from your licensing representatives that you had many customers coming in saying they could buy it cheaper elsewhere, and then you had a friend who told you where to get it from. Is that correct?
It's not a many customers. That customers, Polish...
It's not? Okay, because Mr. Pancho said it was many customers.
It's that few customers.
Only a few?
Few. I just told on Miss Karen on the same time as well. We got few customers, like one or two. One or two, that's a regular customer. They're buying like a grocery Polish things.
Yeah. And
they ask me to bring that. We're not going anywhere else to buy our shopping or the grocery things. That's the thing I've done wrong, and bring it for them. And I'll just keep it in a van to, I told Miss Karen already, I give him from van. We didn't got anything in a shop, or we're not going to sell it on a shop.
So, one or two customers, you say, are going to buy these illicit cigarettes, and you still go out and buy 3,600 of them.
Is that like a 18 pack? I'll get 20 pack altogether.
18 sleeves. So we're talking the big sleeves now. We're not talking one pack, we're talking a case of there's 20s, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah. It's that I just buy 20 on that. And
was that 20 of each? Sorry, I will interrupt because it's important we understand exactly. We've heard from Kieran in our team here that it was 3,200 of one variety and 400 of it. Did you buy a pack, 20 sleeves of both variety?
Both variety, 20. And I think they get it 17 or 18 on the same time. I don't know how.
So you actually had doubled it. You'd actually sold quite a few of these before we found out.
No, I just sell 2 sleeves, like a 200 in each pack.
No, sorry, sir. We seized from you 18 200s. 18 sleeves.
18200s, yeah. I
Yes,
just,
that's what we seized off you. You've just told me that they come in a pack of 20.
it's
yes,
that
yes.
200 and one sleeves.
Yeah, of course. So
Yeah, I sold like a 400 cigarettes, single cigarette,
I
you say?
see. So you're claiming you only bought 4,000.
Yeah, 4,000. That's my first time.
Okay, right. And you also
And
told
then say-
Mr. Panchout in his presentation told us you purchased them after finding out from a friend where to get them from. Now, have you shared these details with the police and the local authority? The contact details? Have you shared those details?
I didn't got any. That person, our customer, he told me you get it from Polish people. They're gonna bring it to you. And he just one day.
You seriously believe that I'm going to accept that? You're telling me you have no contact details. A man just turned up and you bought these cigarettes. Is that what you're here to tell us today?
That's the thing I got. That's, I can't say anything else. I don't know.
Okay. You understand the 182 guidance, don't you?
Yes.
So what does that say about selling smuggled goods?
That's a crime, you say?
And what happens to the license of someone who would do that?
It should be rejected the license.
You
I lose my business.
You do understand the severity. I know you're smiling, you may think it's funny, but you do understand the severity of what's happened today?
Yes.
Okay, that's all right, as long as you understand.
Should be bad for me, really.
Yeah, well, I hope you understand, because from what I can hear, you're telling me this is the first time you've ever bought them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the first time. You didn't know, you knew it was illegal.
Is that?
Yeah, but you chose to do it. And you don't know who you bought them from.
Not really.
And how did you pay? I guess you just paid by cash, was it?
Just pay by cash, sir.
Right, okay. No receipts or anything like that?
No, nothing like that.
And it was the first time?
It's the first time.
Okay. Councillor Barnes.
A quick question to the licence holder. Good afternoon. I just wanted to ask you, was there a reason why you bought 4,000? Was it a sort of deal? Is it because just for more clarification for me, was it like a pack? Did you have to buy that amount?
It's just say we got that box. You have to buy all of them if you want. If you don't want, don't buy it. That's it.
Sorry to interrupt. And then what was the agreement? Was he going to come back again? Is there a sort of a time limit? Did you know how long it was going to take you to sell?
I didn't ask him anything.
All right.
I didn't ask him anything. That's my first time. I don't know. I don't want to sell that, but for a few customers, I don't think I need
that many.
That's going for long.
Yeah.
That way I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
How much did you pay, Mr. Son?
I paid £45 for each sleeve.
So you paid £900, is that
He
right?
just said 900 pounds.
A man walks in off the street and you give him £900 cash.
900
and
pounds.
you've never seen him before, and you've
No.
never seen him since.
No.
So, we'll move on now to the other items you had. You had obviously other items which weren't just duty paid. These were ones that are contraband. Were they from the same guy? Bought at the same time? Because you just told me you paid £900. That's the cigarettes. Hang on. So what about the other stuff that we are here to discuss? The oral tobacco. The other items, they weren't part of that transaction. So where did you get those from?
That tobacco, she get it from the counter, gantry. She see that already. That's a dry, and I told her it's not mine. The time I buy the shop, it's that come with that, and it's just straight there. I didn't sell anything from there. It's a gantry. I don't know is that fake or original. The tobacco is that dry tobacco from long time. We stay there.
No, sorry. I'm talking about the Indian tobacco, which is not duty paid. You've just told us you bought £900 worth of cigarettes from a Polish man from a van, first time you ever seen him. And what about the other stuff, the oral tobacco? Not the counterfeit stuff, the non-duty paid stuff. When did you buy that then, if you only ever done it once? Because you told me you spent £900.
That the things you're asking about chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
The chewing tobacco is there. I don't know about that as well. That's like a few sachets, I think so. I don't know how many sachets there. And the fax machine is not working. We don't use the fax machine. Yeah, that's it.
So the fax machine's not working, so you've never lifted up the paper drawer in 3 years, and it was a surprise to you to see tobacco concealed there. Is that what you're saying?
If this Ms. Karen see the
No,
position...
Mr. Sony, it was a question.
Yes, sir.
That is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
You've never lifted up the paper drawer in your copier in 3 years, so it was a surprise for you to find that item's there. Because it's not in your witness statement. I've never heard that before. It doesn't say in there, I've never lifted that up before, I wasn't aware it was concealed. So, please, answer the question. You've never lifted it up, you weren't aware it was there?
No. The things, I'm wrong in that. I buy that things from a Indian guy.
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, this is about being honest here, okay? We're asking you to uphold the 4 licensing objectives. And if you can come in front of us and lie to us, it doesn't fill us with confidence, sir. Okay? We have to make sure that we have to protect the members of the public in Hillingdon from behaviour that you're carrying out. And if you tell here and smile at me and lie, and then change your story, it doesn't fill me with confidence. I hope you understand that. So, just to clarify, the other tobacco you purchased from someone, tell us about this system. Is this a constant thing? Was it just one-off? Pay cash, you have no contact details. It's important you tell us now because we can share it with the responsible authorities and stop this behaviour in this borough. Okay?
Yes.
So if you have details and you want to do it, it's really important you share it with us.
The things the chewing tobacco, we got a customer, Indian customer, they're buying this, and the person comes like every month, they're asking, you need the thing? You need the things? On that time, we say, if we need it, we just say yes. If we don't need it, say no. But after the December, he came twice in my shop. I'll say, we're not going to sell these things now. And after that, I didn't see him.
So just to clarify, it wasn't occasional. It was once a month he would come in, you would place an order, you would get the stuff, but you stopped that process since December.
Yes. We're not ordering. He's got his stuff with him on the same time. They're asking, you need that things? If we need it, we say yes. If we don't need it, we say no.
I'm conscious you may not want to share it now, but I think it might be a good idea for you to share those details with the licensing team here at the council, obviously other officers and our responsible authorities. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Sorry. Which detail?
You just admitted that once a month a gentleman comes in and sells you fake goods. Yeah. Yeah. You have contact details for this guy.
No, they are coming. They didn't share with us the contact detail as well. They come in a shop, ask, do you need the things?
I'm sure you can give us a description, or you know what the vehicle is, or the registration, or whatever. You'll be able to share something which will be able to stop this process. What I'm advising you is, outside of this arena where we are online, it would be beneficial for you to share that with the responsible authorities.
But I didn't got any contact details, sir. That's the main thing.
Okay, Mr. Pancho, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Explain it to him outside of here. Description of the gentleman, description of the vehicle, all of this will be useful so that our officers and officers of the Metropolitan Police Service can be aware and try and stop this process going on. Yes?
Yes, Chairman, I'm going to make sure I make him understand.
Okay. Councillor Barnes? Okay. Well, okay, so what we do now, we do in reverse order, obviously, following the addendum order of proceedings. So, Mr. Pancho, Mr. Sony, you get to go first, and we go in reverse order, so we'll hear from them, and then we'll hear from Kieran, and then we can stop and have some deliberations. Mr. Pancho, please press the button, otherwise the good people online won't hear your dulcet tones.
Thank you. Yes, Chairman, you heard from my client, and I've heard something more that I never heard before. Anyway, we've got the details now, and since my point of view at the committee is to say, yes, he's agreeing to the conditions, he's following the conditions in December when this matter happened, and he's agreeing to add the extra conditions on the license which are required. He is now following and promoting the 4 licensing objectives in his shop, and he has had his fingers burnt, as I would say, once at the shop, and he's made sure that it never happens again to him. And I will be requesting after this committee meeting to make sure that the details are shared with the responsible authorities on whatever he has with him.
Mr. Stoney, before you make a submission, you press the button. Mr. Stoney, Mr. Pancho just made a very important thing, and we must always be minded to go back to the 4 licence objectives. Mr. Stoney, you're a DPS of some standing. Can you just relay to me the 4 licence objectives, please? Please don't read them out. Make sure you just...
It's a crime disorder. The other things be like a public...
I've just said don't read them out.
Sorry. Public...
If you don't know them, or if you have to read them from a sheet, I would much rather you say, I need to read them out. I just wanted you to know them, and you obviously don't because you have to read them from a sheet. That's fine.
There's a public nuisance, harm for children. Oh, my English not that good. That's why I'm just reading that. That's the thing, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Stoney. Thank you. Kieran?
I would just like to assert, when we do visits from trading standards to premises and we find illicit goods, one of the some of the common statements that we get is, this was my first time. If it was the first time, we wouldn't be getting complaints in advance of those visits. Also, I can confirm that at the time of visit, Mr. Stoney did state the same amount. He did say that he paid £45 for 200. So let's leave. Also, the assertion has been made today by both Mr. Pancho and Mr. Stoney that everything was found in the van. It wasn't. There was stuff found within the shop, behind the till, and also within the printer. I would agree with the questions that Councillor Gillam has made, that it's unusual for an owner to not have examined what was in the shop at the time of purchase. And if you were not certain about the status of the goods on your shop floor, then you should have removed them. If they're there, they're deemed to be under your control. And as is the case with all visits that are made to shop premises, everything is examined and checked by trademark representatives, because we're not the experts in trading standards, and the items that were found to be genuine were duly returned to you. So I do not agree with the assertion that only the stuff that was found in the van was improper.
Okay, that's where we are now. So we'll ask you all to step outside. We have a subcommittee deliberations to take place, and we'll call you back in. We might call you back in for some points of clarification, I don't know. So if you just want to wait outside, and we'll call you when we've finished. Thank you much indeed.